Aaron Esp, Back to the Beginning, used as the final track on episode 1, series 3 of Afterlife. When I first heard that, I only heard that like a couple of years ago, and as soon as that lyric kicked in, can I go back there, back to the beginning, I knew I had to use it where I used it. It just seemed to fit so well that he just wanted it to start over again, and he couldn't. Hello, welcome to some more absolute bollocks. Leopold and Loveday. Tony seems to find his purpose in Afterlife 3. What do you see your primary purpose for this life to be? Well, I know what you're asking. It's always been to make the most of it, and we're just big blobs of meat that have to experience everything we can. We're experience machines. You know, everyone's quest is to feel good. And sometimes and Tony finds that he only feels good now. He tried everything. Tried violence, drugs, drink. And the only thing that, no spoilers, but he found the only thing he can feel good is to make someone else feel good. That's obviously should be everyone's purpose. I think mine, if I had one like that, would be animal welfare. That's what I want to do, really. I always have, but I've got more power to do it now, and that'd be my proudest legacy on my gravestone. Animal activist would probably trump comedian. Gunnar, can you say some nice words for the passing of our car, Alison? So that's a dog asking me to say some nice words about the death of a car called Alison. So that's where we've got to. I think, never mind my comedy or my animal activism, but I think I should get an award for talking to cats and dogs. I've said it before, you will not get George Clooney doing this. And I stand by that. Well, I'm very sorry about the death of your car, Gunnar. R.I.P. Alison, the car. I want to keep saying that so people don't think I'm actually talking about a person. I'm being laughing on flippant. If they just tuned in and I'm laughing about the death of Alison. Alison is a car, okay? And an animal. And Gunnar is a dog. So let's get that clear straight away. Good. Lorraine, where did the inspiration come from our... Mind the way, I've got millions of questions as well. I try and leave it as late as I can, so some people don't get the chat. So I'm not going to get to all of them. So I apologise already. I might sort of conflate some to give you like a frequently asked questions, because I can't answer everyone. But the inspiration for Afterlife came... I was on tour about 2017, and I remember I felt guilty because I was only like working an hour a night. I mean, I was playing arenas, but I thought I've got my days free, so I should do a new show. And it was around the time of like everyone being scared about saying stuff, like on Twitter, or getting cancelled or getting fired from their job for having an opinion. And I just thought, oh, that's terrible. But you get it. I mean, people are scared to say something. What if they weren't scared? What if they didn't care? Well, but you do care. You care about the consequences. You care about losing your job or being unpopular. I said, what if you didn't? What if you didn't care about the consequences? What like you were gonna die or something? Yeah. What if you were gonna die and you didn't? What if you were gonna kill yourself but you didn't? Why would you kill yourself? Good. If you lost everything, what's losing everything? The love of your life, your soulmate. Oh yeah. Why didn't you kill yourself? The dog's hungry. And that was it. It was a jumping off point for this man to be like a verbal vigilante, to be angry at the world. It was never meant to be such a study in grief. But after the first season, series, you're English. I am English. I say season. I say season, right? Not to be all American, but it sounds bigger. Yeah, series is 6.5 hours. A season could be 22. It's not. It's 6. After people would come up to me and say they identified with it and they were grieving, and I realised that everyone was grieving, and then I thought I had to treat it respectfully. So that's why he didn't snap out of it and all that. So that was the initial idea. A man who was angry with the world, who didn't care about the consequences, so he could say everything. And that's where the comedy came from, that we were living vicariously through this man's candour, because we all wish we could say what we wanted, and we bite our tongue, or it's the consequences are too much. So that was the fun. Vampire squirrel, uncle. Again, George Clooney would not have a cat called Vampire Squirrel calling him uncle. Uncle, I like it. How hard was it while filming to have Auntie do what you wanted her to do? Oh, that's a good question. See, now Joey's got a similar question, so I'll answer these both at the same time. Joey says, is there always someone off screen giving instructions to Auntie? Joey's a cat too, obviously. Or is a lot of it a natural behaviour? And does she ever ruin a take? Or is she always a good girl? She's always a good girl. Even if she ruins a take, she's a good girl. Always. So, it depends. I don't really want her to do tricks, but even wanting her to walk into frame at a certain thing, that's a lot to ask. So her dad and her trainer, Ash, what he does is, if I say, I want her to jump up onto the couch and sit next to me, he'll put a little mark. He'll show her the mark, which she knows because she's got conditions like a little bit of wood or something, hide that on the couch, and then go to it, right? Go to it. Do that 3 times. Then when it's time, he tells her, and she goes to it. It looked like she just jumped up. And that's about as complex a thing as I wanted to do. I don't get her to do anything, because the only thing I wanted her to do was to be a dog, and I wanted it to look like she was my dog. But even having her sort of on my lap watching the laptop, there is someone, her dad, behind the laptop with her eye line, keeping her interested with a bit of sausage on a on a stick, which is how I get Tony Way to act a lot of the time. Now, he might be watching this because he was watching last week when I said his body is like a peeled boiled egg. I've said it again. So I've emphasised the fact that his body is like a peeled boiled egg, and now I say he acts for sausages on sticks. Good. Oh God, this is good, isn't it? Winding up friends via the global internet. No, but that's good, that. Brilliant. Joey. Oh, I've done Joey's. Yeah, so that's and lots of frequently asked questions about Auntie. Real name Antilly the Wonder Hound. How old is she? 10, 11 in a couple of months. How did I meet her? I go to the trainers and I looked at all the things they have, dogs for television, and I thought, I want a big dog, and I thought, I better meet her to see, and I met her on Hampstead Heath, and I played with her and we rolled around, and she immediately, it looked like she was my dog, and that was it. And I said, I don't want to do tricks, it's not Disney, I don't want to stress her, I'd rather, not that he ever would anyway, but I'd rather change it than worry, get her to do something that she didn't want to do. So that's it, that was it. Kristen, did you ever think of another ending once you had the ending set for season 3? Like a sadder or happier one than this? Once I'd got that ending, I was pretty sure, but It wasn't the first idea. Yes, I did think that there could be a much more tragic ending, that, you know, Tony couldn't get better or get well or get happy. But I decided against that. A lot of people that came up to me really identified with Tony, and some were therapists who said that they showed it in their sort of sessions, and people really rooted for Tony and wanted him to do well, and they saw themselves in him. And one of them said, please don't have him end it all. And I took that on board, and I see why. So that was out of the question then. And then it was just down to, you know, how things were tied up, who got their story. But to explain the ending, no spoilers. This won't be a spoiler. If you've seen it, you'll understand. If you haven't seen it, it doesn't matter. But the ending is just saying that everyone dies, but not yet, not today. It sort of plays with time. So everyone dies, but in the future, not today. And everything's the same, and life goes on. There's still the trees, there's still Tambury Fair, there's still everyone else, but it's just you know. Did you notice the trees change, by the way? Did you all notice that it's like future seasons happening? Yeah. Titch. I mean, I didn't have anything around, so it's nonsense. So for what this is the prize, right? I was going to teach everyone how to draw Lionel the lemon, right? And I thought, oh, I could send Rachel that. I thought, no, well, that'd just rot, wouldn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to draw a Lionel lemon, and then I'm going to do it again on a tennis ball, which at last, and that's Rachel's prize, a tennis ball. Titch can play with it, I'll sign it and draw a little Lionel lemon. Is that rubbish? Is that a rubbish prize? I was desperate. Right, this is how you draw a Lionel lemon. First of all, just a big smile first, right? Just like that. Then, don't draw the eyes on top, you overlap the eyes like his mouth's over his sort of eyes a little bit, right? And you overlap the eyes. So you do one eye, like that, then you do another eye, sort of behind it like that, right? And then you sort of do him a little bit cross-eyed in the middle, like that. And that's Lionel. And then no one can ever eat that lemon. Right, so now I'll try to do it on a tennis ball. This is weird, isn't it? This is like some sort of weird program in some sort of institution. Right, where should I draw it? It's one of my tennis balls. I'll go against the grain like that. Right, so Lionel the tennis ball. I'll sign that. Great. Daniel, you mentioned... Oh, Titch, sorry. I'll come to Daniel. My question is, what keeps you grounded? Because you're so down to earth. Am I? I'm fat and old. That's why. Is it Auntie? Or something else? I don't know. Well, you lot, I guess, as well. But yeah, friends and family, they keep you down to earth, don't they? You want a normal... The idea is to have a normal life, a lovely normal life. You don't want a weird... It wants a weird Hollywood existence, or... Do you know what I mean? I just want a normal life. Drawing on lemons. How is that normal? Oh God. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. You want to be treated normally, don't you, really? That's the secret. Daniel, You mentioned you have a few ideas at the moment for your next Netflix project. So would you consider these new ideas to have a similar structure to your previous work, or would it be something completely different? And would you still write, act and direct? I think so. I think I still write, act and direct. It would be similar. It's not going to be so mad. It's not going to be like a silent sketch show or something like that. It'll be some sort of narrative comedy thing, whether it's fake documentary or Eye of God or traditional sitcom or weird sitcom. But I think, I do like that, half hour, 6 eps type thing. I've got it down to 2. I've got it down to 1 now, I think. But yeah, and Daniel, cheers for all those clips you keep. I know you're probably ripping them illegally. Netflix aren't watching, don't worry. But keep up the good work. It's brilliant. I don't know how you do it, but yeah, it helps me because I wouldn't know how to do it, so I can just sort of retweet your thing you did. This is breaking the law. The FBI. It was Daniel. I told him not to. So, sorry, mate. Seemed like a canary. Oh, this is Danielle, not Daniel. Danielle. If you could only choose stand-up, writing, acting, or directing, what would you pick? Oh, an order of preference. Oh, that's so difficult. Because I sort of lump in the writing, acting, and directing as one thing, if you know what I mean. Even though different disciplines. And then stand-up is something else. Oh, and stand-up's writing as well, and directing and acting, even though it's me as my name, there's a persona, and I'm saying things that I don't really mean sometimes. So that ticks all the boxes. In one, stand-up for me ticks all the boxes, I think. Oh, yeah, if I can't do all 3, I wouldn't mind losing acting, I wouldn't mind losing directing, I wouldn't want to lose writing. So out of those 3, it's writing. So in order, it's stand-up, writing. I'd probably go, if I haven't written it, if I've got to do one, if I haven't written it, I'd probably put directing before acting. No, I wouldn't. No, if I haven't written it, I'd put acting before directing. If I'm not writing it, I might as well put acting first, because that's easier. Actors are really annoyed. Tony Way is really annoyed. So I'd put stand-up, writing, acting, directing in the order of preference. Mr. T the Taco, inspired by Lionel the Lemon, could you please draw something on my shell to make Pickalicious not want to kill me? Oh dear. What would I draw? I don't know, I'd just draw a little face. So that stops people eating that lemon, doesn't it? Yeah, I've been talking to cats and dogs, but I just talked to a stuffed cat toy. Yeah, so someone wanted me to mention. Someone wanted me to mention something. Oh yeah, animal testing. Yeah, it's getting closer. At least there's the sort of debate now. They're still trying to. The propaganda's ridiculous. That animal testing is necessary or isn't cruel or works. It is cruel. It doesn't work and it isn't necessary. And they do it emotionally, like they say, think of all the things that we found that have been tested on animals. Yeah, but they were found despite testing on animals, not because of them. Sooner or later, you still have to test on humans, and computer testing is already better. But it's hard. They're so ingrained, that people believe that it's necessary and it makes it safer. And also then there's the, you know, the whole sliding scale of what's necessary isn't, you know, I can see why people go, oh, we might find a cure for cancer. You won't in animal testing. There was one whistleblower, one scientist that had done it like all her life and said, all we found out is how to cure cancer in mice that we gave cancer to. So that's all that's happened. So yeah, well, you know, finding a cure for a killer disease is one thing, but doing it for soap and mascara, I mean, that's mental. You're torturing fucking rabbits. You're putting dripping things in rabbits' eyes that are held in position. They're bred for that. Then they're held in position all their miserable life and basically tortured. So a shampoo doesn't sting. Now. So yeah, well, it ended badly, didn't it? I'll show you Line of the Lemon again. Ended on a sour note. Brilliant. So thanks for watching. Keep watching. Watch it again. The viewing figures are gonna. Everyone who just watched it, just leave it on. So it looks like, I don't know if that counts. Just does it show? Do they know if you watched it twice, or does it just count? I think they count devices and not people who've watched it, or how many times you've watched it. They probably do know that though. That's probably good. That makes me look good. So just everyone who's watched Afterlife, when you go out, just leave it on again. Oh. Alexa, play Afterlife on Netflix. Siri, play Afterlife on Netflix. We finished the series, the third series of Absolutely Mental. They're putting that all together. That should be soon. And then I want to do warm-ups for my new show while Netflix are fiddling around waiting to put Supernature out. I'm over that. I'm on to the next thing. Yeah? Rolling Stone gathers no moss. So, you do the math. Right, there you go. That was a load of bollocks. I'll send that to Rachel for randomly being selected. I might do one again because the signal is not very good. Thank you. Be nice to animals. Tatty bye, everyone. Tony Way. Oh. Tatty bye.
Do we agree, Prime Minister, that nobody should be left feeling, as Cat Smith has just described, that they would be better off dying between now and next April?
No, of course. But governments have to bring about sensible reform.
I think Starmer's one of the worst prime ministers we've ever had, and he's only been with us 81 days. But look what he's done in those 81 days. He's allowed the Chancellor to go ahead with a scheme where 4,000 pensioners could freeze to death this winter, and those are Labour figures, by the way, not Tory figures, OK. He's introduced a raft of policies like energy, which could make us dependent on overseas energy ad infinitum, so dictators around the world will control what we have in this country. Never mind the sleaze. I mean, goodness gracious, he stood up in the Commons once, looked across the box at Boris Johnson and said, sleaze, sleaze, sleaze. There's never been a sleazier Prime Minister. Never been a sleazier Prime Minister.
Then here's Starmer.
Never.
So what makes you call him sleazy? Sleazy's an interesting word for you to use.
Well, if you're walking around in other people's suits to try and improve your image, I saw one...
Well, it's his suit. It's just paid for by somebody else.
I reckon he was a useless lawyer. A boring, useless public sector lawyer. Boring, useless public sector lawyer.
A lot of public interest cases, and then he served
boring.
Ireland, and then he was a public prosecution. Where he changed the approach, so they started prosecuting grooming gangs.
Adenoidal voice, incapable of thinking on his feet.
He is actually. I think in there is a decent man, quite amused.
Really?
wry sense of humour.
I don't think
interested
Lou
in-
Haig thinks
in
so, the
people.
Transport Secretary sacked. I don't
Look,
think Andy Rayner, the former
something
Deputy
has
Prime
gone.
Minister, thinks he's decent. I think they think he's treacherous, disloyal,
Oh.
doesn't believe in anything, doesn't believe in anybody, throws people under a bus because he's useless.
Do you think society could survive if everyone was kind, generous and thoughtful, or do we need ruthless bastards to drive industry and make the difficult decisions? I don't know. I don't think you have to not be kind and generous and thoughtful to make difficult decisions, do you? You know, it's kind to decide to have your pet put down. It's a terrible decision, but it's kind. It's a kind decision. So I don't think those two are in conflict. But I know exactly what you mean. I think naturally we probably are kind and generous and nurturing, but we developed our intelligence was sort of relied a bit on violence because we didn't have the tools, did we, to defend ourselves. So we had to come up with cunning, evil fucking ways to catch stuff and eat it. So, but I think naturally we probably are generous and nurturing too, you know. We had to be really kind and generous and nurturing because we didn't have the tools and we had to look after our young in a scary place. But I mean, I don't know about politics. I think politicians have proved that it's nothing to do with doing what's right for most people now. Even if they start off going into it with good intentions, all the compromises, all the worries about trying to please everyone, they soon start, you know, not doing a great job. And now a lot of them have proved that they're blatant. They're in it for themselves. So I don't know. I think the utopia you're talking about probably is possible, but yeah, I think there's always a few bad eggs, isn't there? Genius, Rick. What do you think about the world? There's always a few bad eggs, isn't there? Brilliant.
Do we agree, Prime Minister, that nobody should be left feeling, as Cat Smith has just described, that they would be better off dying between now and next April?
No, of course. But governments have to bring about sensible reform and take
Sensible
measures
reform, absolutely.
But things like anti-forestalling clause, they are not unique to this situation. But on a human level, the answer to your question is, of course, not.
But last year, you told me that this was a policy that was just aimed at revenue raising, that it wasn't targeted at anybody in particular. We've now seen the anti-forestalling clause, and we know from Treasury's own figures that 75% of the £500 million that is expected to be raised from this will come from farmers who die over the age of 75. So, is it not the case that actually this is a targeted measure, and it is targeted at, and it will affect those who are elderly, suffering from terminal illnesses over 75, and it doesn't matter if it's one farmer or 1,000 farmers. Surely you cannot be comfortable with that.
Let me just address the point that it's not targeted. It's not targeted at individuals.
Well, it was what you said last year.
It's not targeted, as I said last year. It's an economic reform which we took in the budget before last. Not targeted. It is to adjust the rate at which inheritance tax is, the fact that it's paid, the rate at which it's paid, and the period over which it is paid. But it's not targeted against individuals. I'm not arguing with you that there are therefore going to be individuals affected, as there are with any change in any tax regime, but there's a difference between changing the tax regime and targeting a group of individuals. This is about changing the tax regime.
The anti-forestalling clause that we've spoken about traps farmers into the new rules. It doesn't allow them the same opportunities that other taxpayers will have to use tax planning to manage their affairs in a sensible way that will allow the succession of family farms in this country.
That doesn't make it targeted. It is a necessary consequence of the decisions that we've taken. But I can assure you, as you would expect, the President of the NFU has raised this issue with me on more than one occasion.
Not just the President of the NFU.
Well, I appreciate that.
You've heard it from Cat Smith, you've heard it from my Select Committee, you've heard it from the Welsh Affairs Select Committee, you've heard it from the Northern Ireland Affairs Committee. These are all select committees, incidentally, that have majorities from the Labour Party, and they have all produced unanimous reports calling for this to be paused and rethought. You don't have to listen to me. You don't even have to listen to the farmers out there. You don't have to listen to the President of the NFU. But why do you not listen to your own party colleagues?
I do listen to party colleagues all the time.
And then do what you're going to do anyway.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carmichael.
They allowed him to evade questions like he does in Prime Minister's questions. Because what's interesting is, at the liaison committee, he admitted that jury trials won't actually help to solve the backlog. So he's ditching 800 years of our judiciary system and our freedoms just for, nothing. And he's also admitted that he knows of people who are terminally ill who may end up taking their life before the farm taxes actually come into place. So again, that wasn't in the manifesto, and they should be grilling of him about it, because it's broken promises that he wasn't actually promised in the manifesto, that he has no mandate to actually implement. And again, with the illegal migration, Labour MPs, they celebrated 28 days of no boats coming in prematurely, because after that we had 700 come in, and that's taken us over 40,000 legal migrants that came into the UK. So again, it's like we're having to rely on bad weather to keep us safe at border control. So where is our tax money actually going? Because it's appalling.
And Chris Rose, when you look at the makeup of the examiners today, 8 out of 12 from the Labour Party, 3 from the Conservatives, only 1 Liberal Democrat, and of course nobody from Reform UK. Does it sort of cast a sort of shadow of doubt over the entire point of these things? I mean, it's like 8 of your mates, giving you an end-of-year review. Why bother?
That's the thing. I mean, we know that he's going to go soft with them. Keir Starmer doesn't like scrutiny. He even left the liaison committee early as well, because when he's held up to scrutiny, he doesn't like it at all. He doesn't like his pre-prepared questions taking another route. He can't think quick on his feet. I mean, Kenny Badenoch is actually running rings around him at Prime Minister's questions now as well. Even with journalists who used to support him, during the election last year, now that they're scrutinising him more, you can see the anger and his short temper coming out of him a bit. So he doesn't like it. So that's why they've picked, easy questions from, 8 of his mates instead of an actual grilling that he fully deserved. Looking at his popularity ratings, he really needs to be grilled, particularly by even his own MPs, because things aren't looking well for them at all, according to the polling. They're currently in 3rd place, 4th place, pushing down. And as you heard, as read, Reform now have more party members than Labour as well, because they've all drifted off to Green Party, whatever SAC is offering them. And, things aren't looking well. So I don't know why he doesn't want more scrutiny, because after the next local elections in May, I think they may move to actually get rid of him as leader. And certainly the Chancellor as well. So going ahead in easy mode is just bringing them, it's just delusional.
Hello. It's the most wonderful time of the year, so the song goes. We finished our work, we sit by the fire with friends and family and eat and drink way too much. But for some people, it can be one of the worst times of the year. People living rough haven't got a home and friends and family, and they can't eat and drink as much as they like. So that's why I'm going to wrap this up and go and give it to a tramp. So, probably film it for Instagram, so people know what a great bloke I am. Put some really sad music on it. See his little fucking face light up. Oh God. Dutch barn. Move on up. Why not? Good advice. Isn't it? If you had to choose one, would you A, never tell another joke in your life? That's impossible. That's impossible. Never taste alcohol again. Can I drink it and hold my nose? I think you mean never. I'll take that as never drink alcohol again. That's tough. Easier than the first one. Never travel beyond Hampstead or your house in the country. That's not that bad. The way honestly, even when I travel to places I really love, I wish they were down the road, or I could teleport myself. Just getting up and getting dressed. Lose all memories of your career since 2001. No, that's the fun bit, isn't it? Looking back at stuff. You know, knowing you did a good job, and that's soon. That's all you are, isn't it? Memories when you can't actually do any of that shit anymore. I think never go beyond Hampstead. That's fine, unless something terrible happens to Hampstead, which I don't think it will. Hampstead is one of those places that sort of time forgot. Whatever's happening in the world, it's always okay in Hampstead. So I think it's got to be 3. Then I can tell jokes, drink alcohol, and remember stuff. Although the alcohol, I thought that would be a good advert for alcohol. Sort of like a play on words. Dutch barn. It helps me forget. Because it does actually, it can affect your memory. I told you I do honest advertising. Just me sat in a bin like that. I drink vodka because it helps me forget. What? That. Imagine that in the Super Bowl. That advert. Me in a bin going, I drink vodka because it helps me forget. What? That. Just that. Cost 40 quid, that advert. Put it on Super Bowl. Well, it probably cost about $1 million to put on Super Bowl, but you know what I mean? They're already regretting giving me the company. If you were a cat like us, would you climb the Christmas tree? Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because if I was a cat like you, I'd be an idiot, wouldn't I? So I would climb the Christmas tree. Merry Christmas. That's not bad, is it? I'll do that. Drink Dutch barn. Merry Christmas. There's an advert. Another one. It's that easy. That easy. And my cat, when I was little, Paddy, big tabby, a bit like Pickle, used to eat the lametta. You remember that sort of like stuff that you'd hang on Christmas trees that was like sort of tin foil? It would eat that and throw it up. So we just find these really sort of glamorous, shiny balls of vomit around the house. Liberace spew. Yeah, so I probably would climb the Christmas tree. Is there anyone you met professionally that has surprised you or been different to what you expected? David Bowie springs to mind, just because he was so innovative and I don't know, and he was like alien, and then you meet him and he's a normal bloke from South London. And he's really down to earth and funny, and he knows about stuff. He still knows what's going on. You know, you expect him to be sort of out of touch in some sort of weird lair. Yeah, just a bloke called Davy Jones. That's about it, really. Thanks for following. Yeah, be nice to animals. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye.
And destroy the country, run it into the ground. Who are they? Where do they come from?
Know that every day you live, every day is a bigger percentage of the rest of your life. So fill it with stuff. Just whatever makes you happy, I think, without hurting anyone, obviously. If you're a serial killer, don't do whatever makes you happy. Get some help. But if you're not hurting anyone, do what makes you happy.
Every single thing has gotten worse.
Everything.
The crime has gotten worse. The NHS has gotten worse. The economy has gotten worse. There's nothing you can name. Public image has gotten worse. The military's gotten worse.
Education.
The education system's gotten worse. The judiciary's gotten worse. There's not a single institution inside of the UK that is not worse than it was 10 years ago. And for the last 14 years, Conservatives were in charge and did nothing. They let the little girls get... They did nothing. Now Labour's in charge. They are flailing and failing while sponsoring foreign wars and allowing old age pensioners to freeze to death. And Conservatives are trying to talk as if they are the answer to something. You have done nothing but fail your constituents for over a decade. The Conservatives are liars. Labour are liars. It is two sides of the same coin of uni-party, globalist, banking interest garbage. And for that reason, you need a man who is prepared to risk his life to save his country. And if you ask yourselves, Donald Trump is the man for the United States. He's the only man who publicly took endless heat, lawfare, and assassination attempts to do the right thing. Name another man with a British passport who has fought the Matrix as hard as we have, who has stood up as hard as we have, and shown that we will not bend, we will not break, and we will not be intimidated. My goal, once I am in power, is to finally give the UK what it deserves, which is a country which is ruled by somebody who is not beholden to globalist interests, who's intending to destroy the nation to benefit the globalists, to extract her beauty, her value, and her wealth. I'm intending to do the absolute opposite.
I go for a walk every day just to meet dogs. It sets me up. It's like my heroin. If I talk about this in my stand-up, but if I've met 10 dogs, you know, some of which I know, and they run over to me and they're happy to see me, that's the day. That's set up. That's like I've taken the pills. That's like my happy pills, playing with a dog in the morning. So that do what you do whatever you like doing until you die. Don't, like, I play tennis once a week. It's my favourite thing. And obviously now I hurt for longer after tennis because I'm old and decrepit. But I refuse to not try my hardest still and play tennis, and I love it. And even when it gets to the point where I play tennis, I can hardly play, and I ache for a week until I play, I'll still play tennis. I play tennis in pain. I play tennis with a back strap on when I hurt my back. I've got a fucking thing on my elbow, tennis elbow, blisters, plasters. I've got a thing on my foot because whatever my bunion thing is. I will play tennis until I fucking die because it's so much fun. I love it. So just because something's painful, there's no reason not to do it. Is that good advice? I think so. I don't know.
some of the deadly serious questions that you asked?
On you.
Okay, we're gonna. All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna ask you.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Who's the funniest person you know?
Probably my brother Bob. He was my biggest influence growing up. He was like 11 years older than me, and he's just a fatter, older, balder version with no restrictions. So that's my future. That's my future. I'm going to look like my brother Bob, and I'm going to be a better comedian in 10 years because, you know, people. The funniest person you know isn't a comedian.
Yeah.
You know, it's your dad or your brother or your best mate. So it's just that weight of like knowing someone. And,
does he know he's funny?
Yeah, it's always been funny. I've always wanted to be funny like him.
For him.
And I liked it because it was like a social skill. We could go into a room and just say what he wanted wherever it was. So I always admired that you know, he doesn't care who he's talking to.
Does he ever call you like after a gig or something that he sees and says, "Hey, Ricky, that killed," or "Hey, that was blah blah"?
He's come to all my gigs, yeah. I talk about him in my gigs.
Yeah.
I ask him permission, and he goes, "Say what you want, I don't care."
Does he ever say you went over the line?
Too far.
I can't imagine. I don't imagine that's possible in my family.
Your whole family, not just Bob.
It was all about
What about Bob?
I remember, like, all my brothers and sisters are older than me. They're 11, 12 and 13 years older than me. And I asked my mum when I was about 13, I said, why are my brothers and sisters so much older than me? And she looked at me and said, you were a mistake.
Oh!
And I just laughed.
Yeah.
The truth is they're all mistakes. You know.
They're all...
They're all mistakes. I don't know how it happened, to be honest. So, yeah.
The Russian president saying that if Ukraine those into Russian territory, he would consider the U.S. and other NATO countries directly involved and therefore at war with Russia.
I thought it was apt as we come out of a global pandemic and then some tries to start World War III. Typical. Cat Stevens, he's been with me forever. That's off the Teaser and the Firecat album, which is the first album I ever owned that was mine. Not the first one I bought with my own money. That was Stranded by Roxy Music. But that was the first one I owned. I think I'd asked for it. My sister got me it, and I think she said I could have an album. It was in 1971, 72. What would I have been? 10, 11? Anyway, I still love it. And I don't know whether it's the nostalgia or that every song on it is amazing. But check it out. Teaser and the Firecat. Cat Stevens. Plug. Classic. It's only 50 years old. Topical. So, yeah. Right. Questions. How are you, everyone? Yeah, I know. What can you do? What can you do? There's always something, isn't there?
We want to turn now to the war in Ukraine and fears of a wider conflict. President Biden and UK's Prime Minister met on Friday to discuss allowing the Ukrainian military to use long-range to strike deep inside Russia. But Russian President Vladimir Putin is now warning of severe consequences if that happens.
The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been pleading with allies for months to let his country fire long-range Western-made deep into Russian territory. We're talking specifically here about the U.S. ATACMS and the British Storm Shadows. Ukraine says these long-range will allow its forces to air bases and other military targets from which every single day Russia is launching attacks that are Ukrainian civilians. Until it's given the green light by Western countries, the Ukrainian military cannot hit those Russian targets. But the U.S. and the U.K. appear increasingly open to lifting the restrictions, which prompted a warning from Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, saying that if Ukraine fired those into Russian territory, he would consider the U.S. and other NATO countries directly involved and therefore at war with Russia. His remarks signal he may be willing to escalate against the West in response, and some Western officials are concerned this could mean acts of sabotage against their infrastructure or possibly, Peter, NATO bases.
There's always summer, even if it's not, a world concern, if it's not a pandemic or global warming or nuclear war or tragedy, right? There's always something wrong. Do you know what I mean? You just pick up. At my age, every day gets a little bit shitter. I ache a bit more. So, you know, the news is one thing, but I'm already in pain. Oh God, I take vitamins and things and supplements now, ointments. My latest, nothing I can do about it, but I've been trying to keep fit, which is harder and harder, right? So I go jogging or walking every day, depending on if I've got like my knees have thawed out or I haven't got sprained ankle or bad back. I try and go running or walking every day. Right? And this is way too much information, right? I've just been putting I haven't been wearing pants unless I have to go on a chat show or something. I was on a couple of those. So it's been nice to get up, take my pyjamas off, put on tracksuit bottoms, but you know, like joggers. I've got joggers clunge because it's a bit of chafing down there. So I put underpants on today. I thought if I thought I could stop everything scrabbling around. Yeah, I don't know if it worked. So there you go. I forget that newspapers watch this, and then they do an article like I spoke to them. Ricky told us he's got runner's clunge. Like I f***ing say, call the papers up. Hello.
Vladimir Putin says Russia will be at war with NATO if Ukraine uses long-range deep into Russia. How far into Russia do you think Ukraine should be able to strike?
Vladimir Putin is striking regularly in the heart of Ukraine. He's sending hospitals, at daycare centers, at families and communities across Ukraine, and it was his choice. His choice.
Yeah, just pop this in your... Yeah, I know there's a war on, but pop this page 4. I've got runner's clunge, and I want to know what you, as the press of Great Britain, intend to f***ing do about it. Someone just said Vaseline. Yeah, I know. Right, that's settled.
To invade a neighboring sovereign nation. His choice to start this conflict, and it could be his choice to end it tomorrow. All he has to do is pull back his troops into Russian territory. But he won't do that. He is not just trying to remove any choice that Ukrainians have around where they want their future to go, remove their independence, remove their sovereignty. He's trying to deeply destabilize the international rules-based order that protects us all, not just in every democracy around the world, but in all countries around the world. Any country with a neighbor with a slightly larger army should be worried if it suddenly becomes allowed to invade and redraw lines on the map. And that's why Canada and others are unequivocal that Ukraine must win this war against Russia. And we will continue to be there to support Ukraine. And yes, Canada fully supports Ukraine using long range to prevent and interdict Russia's continued ability to degrade Ukrainian civilian infrastructure and mostly to kill innocent civilians in their unjust war.
Luckily, I don't have many sad days like some people do. Everyone feels fed up, or I'm annoyed all the time, or something I'm not looking forward to hangs over me. That can be something like when people would think, oh, that's lovely. Like, oh, I got an award show. I'm through. Oh God, to get dressed up and go out at 4 o'clock. I don't. Those are the sort of or a dentist appointment. Oh, for fuck's sake. I just want everything to be... I wouldn't even say fun. I want peace and quiet. That's all I want. And it's times like this where I realise how fundamental and important just peace is. Just peace. It's number one for me now. Just peace.
You wanted to divide them. You wanted to separate us. So we look divided.
We often see people pulled up online for an old tweet that contradicts their current position. And rather than celebrate that that person has learned something and has changed their opinion, it is used as a massive pile-on to cancel them. Exactly. How do you feel about that? And is there anything your 20-year-old self would have tweeted that you wouldn't agree with now? I'm sure. I can't think of anything. Although I'd probably be embarrassed by my 20-year-old self trying to be so right on, because that's what most 20-year-olds are. They're trying to be. So I'd probably cringe at getting it slightly wrong, if anything. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Don't forget that sort of is purely people saying, "Look how good I must be." If I'm bringing someone down, if I'm cancelling someone because the tiniest thing they did 10 years ago, think how perfect I must be. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to get one-upmanship to make themselves look better. So, yeah, it's to be ignored. And you're exactly right. If there's no value in changing and saying sorry, don't bother then. It's ludicrous. You're exactly right. People, if you find something that people was 10 years ago and now they're not, you're right. That should be applauded because they've changed for the better. But it's just people on each other to make themselves look better. Best thing is just ignore it. Just ignore it. That's what these people, they want attention. They don't care what it is. It's like these people who go on any march to windows. They don't care about the cause. It's that 5% that brings everything. All good ideas are eventually infiltrated and ruined by a minority. The trolls of the political world.
What a feeling. Okay? Man in Britain. All your lives didn't work. And the best thing is, we're unifying the people. Exactly what you wanted to stop. You wanted to divide them. You wanted to separate us. So we look divided. Come on. Back up, mate. Back up. Come on.
But most people are all right. If you looked at Twitter, if an alien looked at Twitter, they'd go, "We're not going there. It's mental," right? But if any aliens are watching, it's not like that. Don't think the real world is like the maniacs, the 5% crazies each other over the minutiae of nothing. It's not like that. Most people are nice, normal people getting on with their lives. Okay, if you're a big fat slug, I'm Zorgon. I go, come on lads, come down, we're all right. We might eat you. We eat everything, so we might eat you. But apart from that, we're all right.